great equalizer in cyberspace.
Yeah.
Video games are a way to bridge the gap.
Oh, you point to the temple with that one.
Playing Contra with my dad.
Contra! Oh my God!
Yeah.
See, I knew Hunter was going to excel in this episode.
Or Carver, that's his name.
Carver.
Yeah.
Carver's nut butter.
Yeah.
Scooby, have you ever heard of Anchor? It's the easiest way to make a podcast.
No, I haven't. Is it free?
Yeah, and there's creation tools that allow you to edit on your phone or computer.
But will it allow you to distribute to all your favorite platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts?
Yeah, it does it for you, and you can make money with minimum listenership.
So you're telling me it's everything you need to make a podcast all in one app?
Yes, it is.
So if you haven't already, go to the Anchor app or anchor.fm to get started.
What he said.
Welcome to another edition of Bridging the Gap with Bill, Scooby, and Chef Mac. And, just try to keep this thing flowing, try to get, keep y'all entertained with this podcast. Still doing it Skype-wise. And we've taken it back to the core three here. And, there it is. All right, what's up with you, Scoob?
Damn, just want to remind the folks out there to go follow the social medias if they haven't at Bridge the Gap 77. I'm at Scooby the Kid 252 on all platforms, at Bill Perry on all platforms, at Chef Mac 1523 on all platforms. And get in tune, get tapped in, check out the Twitch stream, you know what I'm saying, me or Hunters, you know what I'm saying, if you're interested in the gaming, because I think that's, what we about to get talking about. But I'm going to give it to Chef Mac, you know what I'm saying, to give the intro on the game and shit.
Word. Back up, Chef Mac. Just started to your stuff, man.
All right. So it started now.
All right.
Can I redo the intro or not?
No. Well, he pretty much introduced you, man. You know what I'm saying? So you just let it be known what's up with you.
All right. Well, I'm Chef Mac. Just chilling. It's the first time I've been in the episode, like legitly. So I'm excited. I'm ready for this episode. I just kind of wanted to real quick talk about, how is everybody doing in the midst of quarantine and all the other stuff in that aspect.
Well, I'm personally doing well, man. I've buckled down a little bit more with my quarantine action, and just running out here for essentials, but essentially, mining protocol, keeping, I don't have a face mask, but I got a bandana, and I got my gloves and I got my sanitizer and I constantly wash my hands. Wash my hands now more than I ever have my whole life.
Yeah.
Shit, same here. Definitely on the washing the hands tip and just like being mindful of the hygiene. I know I definitely took some time for some much needed rest, which, I hope anybody that's been quarantined and, use this time, even though you might be anxious about certain things, to get some rest, because it's okay to get some rest and, kind of starting to like do things I never thought that I would have done, put more thought into things, through this quarantine, because I'm having a little more time. Definitely like this quarantine is showed me that it's okay to slow down as long as you're in the moment and you realize it, so I'm grateful for that.
Word.
So I know that
what about you, Chef Mac?
I've been doing good. I've been live streaming just about every day at twitch.tv/Chef Mac 1523.
I've been seeing you.
I know that we've all had or at least me and Scooby have a pretty interesting Easter with the tornado and the power outage. Me and him have been out of power for at least 26 hours over this weekend, so I haven't been able to stream, but like, I don't know about you, how about that?
Oh, no, I had power. It flickered on and off, but I've been good over here.
Yeah, we were without power for just about 26 hours.
Word, wow.
The worst part was like you'd be right in the middle of doing something, and then it's just like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope, that's a wrap. Nope, that's good. Well, man, go ahead, Chef Mac.
I got one more thing that I just found interesting that doesn't necessarily fit with the topic of today that I think Scooby will like. I'm not sure about you, Bill, but they're opening a Jay and Silent Bob restaurant from restaurant movies in the movies opening up in LA once the pandemic is over. Kevin Smith put out an Instagram post about it. I figured that'd be something that's kind of cool.
Yeah, Dan Silent Bob is a classic. You know, any Kevin Smith movie is a must watch for sure.
Long live Clerks, man.
Oh God,
Yeah.
you know, a funny thing about Clerks is like black and being in black and white, like it wasn't a choice. It wasn't like a thematic choice. It was a budget choice.
Right, right. And it worked in their favor. Well,
Yeah.
y'all are fans of Kevin Smith, man. You know, I'm a friend of Joy Lauren Adams, man, and, you know, Chasing Amy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
You gotta watch the
Yeah.
Dan Silent Bob. You know, if you're a fan of Chasing Amy, for sure.
Oh, word, word. Well, man, let's get into it, man. Let's let the people know what time it is here.
Yeah,
All right.
facts.
I'm
Well, y'all,
gonna let you introduce it, Bill, because we're gonna start talking with your experiences and it as it started, as gaming started in general. So I'm gonna let you kind of talk
indeed.
about it.
Well, there it is. Hunter just let y'all know that this is about gaming. Dun, dun, dun. And I'm going to do a little flip. We're going to go all the way back to a time classic, like it says right there. And just like Hunter said, man, you know, as far as gaming as a culture, I mean, at least for my generation, I'm a Gen Xer. It's definitely started with Atari as far as home game systems. Well, there was Pong, for the boomers, but it wasn't quite a culture. It's just a little ding, ding, ding. It wasn't a culture of that. And they had the ping pong machine and stuff like that, and that was just a digital, thing they had. But no, when Atari hit, it definitely changed the game. With Pac-Man, Defender, Combat, Missile Command, there's so many names I could drop. And but the arcade was also a big thing too. Going to the arcade was like a fundamental thing you did as a teenager, and also I mean, pretty much as a single digit up into your teens and stuff, and even early 20s. And I think that kind of gave birth to what would inevitably be gaming culture. And then I got ColecoVision, which had this game called Zaxxon that was a very popular 3D like movie. And y'all could be Googling this as I'm saying this if y'all ain't hip. And like, you know, uh,
We're buffering a little bit.
it had other situations going on there. And I'm skipping over a lot of games just to get ready to pass it to y'all.
Hey, yo, Bill.
Bill, you kind of buffering a little bit.
Oh, Lord. What about now?
We can't really hear you.
You good now?
You can't hear me?
Yeah, you good now.
What? Damn, I just stepped outside. I don't know.
Actually, now there's a delay for your speaking. I don't know.
What about now?
It's good now.
Okay. That's weird. That's weird. Well, anyway, I was just kind of going on and stuff there about gaming and everything. And, excuse me. And so, and then of course, you come up to the Nintendo, the NES, Mario and Donkey Kong and all these kind of other gaming, that came about that defined that particular thing, Zelda and so on and so forth. And, but yeah, man, I think, by the time you get to Atari on up to Nintendo and all that, that was a gaming culture that started to develop and, set the precedence for like, Sega Genesis and of course PS1. And then that kind of course, starts getting up to y'all and, you guys are like in the stratosphere with it at this point.
Yeah. I definitely remember like my first memories of playing video games was on the PS1 for sure. But it was like my folks was playing it at first, like
Yeah.
like you get something for Christmas and then like your dad plays with it first for like 5 hours and you finally get on that motherfucking
Right.
and but shit like I remember games like Tony Hawk Pro Skater for sure and Ape Escape, which was a crazy game. I remember
Escape.
man, that was so fun. Like going back to looking at Ape Escape now is very kind of questionable. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
Like,
what was that? What was that one game where you played like it was a giant ape, a giant dinosaur, and this and that and the other? And you go around beating, like tearing down the buildings.
uh,
I
I
have
don't
no
know about that
idea.
one.
Oh, y'all know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it was like you would play these big giant monsters, and they were cartoon looking, and you would just punch on the buildings and such, and you see who could destroy the towns the fastest.
I
Nah,
don't.
I remember it was a game called Twisted Metal, which was kind of similar to that, where it was just all about destroying shit, but it had nothing. You remember that game?
I remember Twisted Metal. I remember Twisted
Uh,
Metal.
Spyro. Spyro was super
Spyro,
fire.
yeah.
If y'all remember the like two 2K Street games, like the basketball street games and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
football, that was the
yeah,
shit, man. Like
yeah, man.
I used to
Wasn't
play
that
that
the
shit.
one? Or if I don't know if it's the same one that had my guy with the afro.
Yeah, like I think that was number two. The first one that had it was a guy from the Dolphins. Um, played for the Dolphins in like the 2000s. I can't remember what his name was, but yeah, that was up until like Call of Duty, and the Wii too. Like that's something I feel like a lot of people did.
Oh
Like
yeah, we.
you had a Wii?
No, I mean I never had it. I actually wasn't. I wasn't hip to. I mean, I wasn't really a fan of Wii.
Yeah, shit. Like that was something that I got. You know what I'm saying? That I like. It was like the first of like virtual reality type things that I feel like was here and kind of gone. Like because I think it was made by Nintendo, and a lot of people don't really
Yeah.
talk about it that much because like the Switch is out now. There hasn't been like a Wii. You know what I'm saying? That's out, but that was what I'm saying super fun when it came out. Like playing the bowling and stuff like that, and then all the sports games, and like We Fit, like that was an interesting time in like video games in my life. But then Call of Duty came, and that's kind of where I'll pass it off to Hunter because that's where I feel like in the modern sense, like what our generation was doing, like with Call of Duty, is like turned into like multi-million-dollar businesses,
Esports,
like esports,
but I
exactly.
want to
That's
bring that up later. Um, I kind of want to just kind of bring it back to like some of my fondest memories of like gaming in general, and that's it's got to be. I remember playing Contra with my dad.
Central. Oh my God! See,
Yeah,
I knew Hunter was going to excel in this episode. The first game he dropped, he hit me hard, man. Oh yeah. And see, Contra goes back to my time. Sorry, Hunter, I didn't mean to interrupt, but man, you name
yeah.
dropped a good one.
And then like I remember playing with me, Scooby, and my dad. We were all playing. We played this one mission over and over again on Metal Gear Solid 3. Is
oh
a
my god,
sniper mission.
that
Um,
shit was awesome.
and
Right.
and playing San Andreas on the PS2. Those are just
Oh,
those are the games like that started me to like become who I am now. I'm a very avid video game player. Um,
and no, you said San Andreas. You didn't play Liberty City growing up?
I don't remember. I remember playing Vice City and San Andreas. Those were the two that I remember playing at me and Scooby's grandma's house. Her husband had a PS2, and those are the
Right.
two I remember playing a lot. Um, Now I've played all of the Grand Theft Autos except for Chinatown Wars, which is just
Oh,
kind of like a top-down game. But I played all of them that are accessible to me that I can get a hold of easily.
well, what do you think about the Tomb Raider series, man?
I
We can't leave out
I
Lara
never really
Croft.
played the older ones, but I have played all three of the newer ones, which are really really fun. Um, uh, but I can't really make a comparison to the older ones because I never really played them all that much.
Oh, indeed, indeed. Well, speaking of which, I hope my buffering doesn't mess up and I do this. I'm going to go in and out. But just for the people out there, let me do something real quick. Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
Tomb Raider, yeah,
Yeah. Let me see if I can put it more. There we go. Yes. So that's the classic three, you know. And yeah, the ones that you probably know, Hunter, man, is probably way beyond anything I've seen.
yeah. And
Well, what about Resident Evil?
what'd you say?
What about Resident Evil?
I I've played a few of them. My fondest memory of that is playing Resident Evil 6, which is a game a lot of people don't really like too much, but that's one that I've played a lot. But I never played the older ones, and I played the newest one, Biohazard, and I want to play the remakes of them just because they're some of. I love zombies. That's one of my favorite kind of genres of gaming is playing zombies, and if the people know my old YouTube channel is Macking for You Zombies, and that's what Scooby calls me a lot. But I was a big fan of zombies as a kid, and I've always wanted to play the Resident Evil games.
Well, let me ask y'all something, man, because you guys know about this more than I do. Um, I've heard stuff about like with gaming culture, like now that it's a worldwide network, you guys can play each other online with the headsets and such. I heard sometimes that could be a very ugly culture, and sometimes it deters people from wanting to be involved. Now,
Yes,
how
it
true is
can
that?
be.
Because it's like, all right, peep this. Like, you got like mostly male kids from probably age 10 to 18 that can't even cuss around their parents yet, and like don't really go and like get out, and you know what I'm saying, like whatever the case may be, they're playing video games and they're trying to put out that like testosterone energy. How I see it. You know what
Right.
I'm
Scooby,
saying?
again, your head's
most of the
cut off.
people most of the people like that, like in real life, aren't like that. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a culture that like I get, but I'm not a fan of now that I'm
Hey,
older.
Scoop, your head's cut off in this shot.
Ah, my bad.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, I remember playing Black Ops 2, and just people would like, oh, I fucked your mom, crazy stuff like that. Like, the
Ooh.
memes of like just a 13-year-old kids with a high pitched voice just yelling at people, and you know,
Word. Well, the thing is, like, now, man, you guys can actually make money today. You can get
yeah,
online and get into, y'all said, like, is it called esports, you say?
yeah, esports.
Hey, as we're talking about esports, I think like you had mentioned something about arcades earlier, and I think would kind of be a good segue to like bridge a gap between like the old and the new, like like high scores and things of that nature. In the like the culture of what an arcade is, I think has turned into like a broad where it's not like you can't just interact with the kids that are at your local arcade and try to like get high scores and you know what I'm saying, coming there with the flyest kicks. Now you're like worldwide hanging out with people in a giant arcade lobby where like you're getting the coolest gun skin camos or the coolest kicks on the the site, Um, so I think it's interesting if you really break it down in the culture behind everything that's going on, and you can see where we're heading in this direction. So I'm kind of curious about like the art, how you
Well,
saw arcades coming up, because I remember Chuck E. Cheese, and that's about as far as an arcade goes for me. But I loved it
well,
nonetheless.
Well, Chuck E. Cheese is a part of my childhood too, Scooby. It was a part of my generation as well coming up, man, and you played games there. But when I was coming up in the city, man, convenience stores had arcades and stuff. They maybe
Yeah,
had two or three, like a 7-Eleven or something like
yeah,
that. You put up in there and be pumping games in the corner store games. But like when it was time to go to the arcade, like a straight up arcade or a bowling alley, it was like you said, it was all about putting a high score up there and leaving your initials. And in your particular area alone, it wasn't a worldwide network, but in every neighborhood, in every little area, whatever have you, there was somebody that had the highest score, and it was all about topping that person. And
facts.
it was an underground culture, and I think somewhere down the line, even with arcade games, I think they started to monetize it. But you have to be the top of the heap. Like they started having like Pac-Man contests, who can get the highest score in Pac-Man and this and that, and the other, the highest score in Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
But it was relegated to just like these big events that would only happen maybe once a year, I guess. But now it's all the time. I mean, there's
yeah,
probably nothing going on right now that's making some money for somebody online right now as we speak.
facts.
I know
Facts.
that there's a tournament that a couple of YouTubers that I watch, it literally goes on this coming up Sunday on the whatever date it is. I can't see my calendar from here. You win $100,000, for playing a video game. $100,000.
Oh my God. Yeah, but it's worth the money when you consider who's battling.
Oh yeah,
I mean, when you see these guys that be playing these games, man, it's like they're like you think. All right, for example, I remember the first time a friend of mine showed me a Madden competition on YouTube, and like I used to always talk about how good he was, and he would like wax all of us. He's like, "Y'all, I'm nothing, man. I'm telling y'all." And he showed me a video of this guy that just I mean, every single trick play, this and whatever have you. I mean, the guy was on point, but he was playing someone else that was just as good as him, and so the money was big. It was high stakes.
yeah. And kind of talking about the sports games. I remember reading right around the start of um, this kind of quarantine that people are starting to use like 2K and Madden and MLB to kind of like play out the games that were canceled because of all of the
Oh,
and that's just cool because like you can now like yeah we're not getting the actual game but you can still kind of see a prediction ish of what it would be. I think that's kind of cool that this community has come together to like let's do this so that people who really enjoy sports can still watch their sport in a way.
yeah. I can imagine people probably played out their March Madness list and all that kind of stuff, and their
Yeah,
what do you call it? The what is it? The oh man, that the Dream Team League or whatever the when people create their own little teams and stuff like that and
Fantasy
all that.
League.
Fantasy League, thank you,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah,
Fantasy
fantasy.
League. And so people are probably playing that out, like you say, via Madden now, just kind of, assuming who would have maybe won.
Yeah, facts. That like in when it comes to sports games, like it was always cool to like learn the players. Like I remember like I played a lot of sports, didn't necessarily watch a lot of sports, but the reason why I knew players was because of sports games. And I think
Right.
that's like video games. To me was like it always seemed to like be about like unity and like I remember when I was like first coming up playing like Call of Duty and shit and like people didn't think that it was gonna get as big as it is. Like there's people that I used to watch when I was a kid at like 14, 15 that are like millionaires now off of playing Call of Duty and doing trick shots and like you know what I'm saying, just like posting up videos like and like I'm sure everybody told them like, no, you're not going to be that. And I think it's kind of a staple in what they're doing. 'Cause these are all like, for the most part, young kids that are like turning this into like multi-million dollar businesses. Like there's uh, uh, I'll say this one thing about this guy because his name is Geek. He was from where me and Hunter are from in North Carolina. And if you go back and watch his old videos, they're about Minecraft. And now this guy like is putting on like game shows and like giving away millions of dollars. And like it's cool where like the video game culture is taking, what I'm saying, everything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Word.
and they seem to have been outcast, but like what I'm saying, not. You know what I'm saying? They still like
But they found a way to they found their social clique.
that. Exactly. Exactly.
And you're right about that. It does bring a sense of unity, man. Like in a different way too, man. You'll have guys that are considered so-called geeks and nerds, and they got something in common with the street dude that's playing the same games, and they're
Exactly.
trying to achieve the same goals in those games. And they'll hobnob about that. Maybe the street guy would lose the so-called geeky guy talking about street stuff, or the geeky guy may lose him talking about book stuff or whatever. But
Yeah.
they may both be getting down on Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, man. It makes it kind of to kind of use this term in another light. It's kind of like the great equalizer in cyberspace.
Yeah. Real.
Video games are a way to bridge the gap.
Oh, oh, that's you point to the temple with that one. Yes, yes.
Facts.
And I remember like for me personally, kind of like going back to when I was coming up with the game and stuff. Really, like I know like there was the NES and then Nintendo came out with 64 and all that. But I actually got out of gaming for a long period of time. Like I didn't do the Sega Genesis and all the stuff that came in between. But when PS1 came out, dude, that changed the game. I'm like, seeing someone put a disc instead of a cartridge in something. And then they had these whole like theatrics, man, before the game would even begin and stuff. And then you got, like, the little movies, the little movie segments, what you call them, the in between the cut scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
And just
And
how
being able to
realistic.
save memory cards. Like I was something big that like I remember when you played like Mario back on the Nintendo, you got to beat the whole game without turning the motherfucker off.
Right. And people would like be throwing their damn joysticks and smashing their game systems because they couldn't save at the point. Especially like something like Mario when you get way up there and oh man. And if it was a level, if it was a high level, you may get to a certain point in that level, but you couldn't save it from like the middle of it if you got like halfway there. You have to start all the way back and oh God, man.
Fuck, like, and
Used to hate that, man. So, yeah, man, saving games definitely changed the bar, and that's something that PlayStation really had amped up on. Like
yeah.
all of their games, the Tomb Raider series and all the other games that they came out with, just being able to save at certain points, man, that changed gaming forever.
And if I'm not mistaken, like Call of Duty being one of the first games that allowed online multiplayer.
One of the first, yeah.
Oh, you guys would be more hip to speak on that. I don't know.
But like that was something that I think like if we took it in like transitions, playing it at home, and then you got like, when you first get to be able to save it, then you got when you first could be able to take it like on the internet, but then you got like portable devices like the PSP, the Nintendo
The
game,
Switch,
the Switch, and that's some
the
new ones. I
DS,
remember like the Game Boy Colors and like the
What was
fucking
the first gaming system that allowed you to go online and play in a worldwide network? Was it Xbox?
I don't know, but like I remember it's like Pokemon on the Game Boys. You could like pull up to your homie crib and like battle each
the,
other playing
the
Pokemon.
Oh,
N64.
Like that was some cool shit that like kind of led to that.
oh yeah, man. Can't forget about the handhelds, man. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah,
definitely changed the game too, man. No doubt.
that shit was
You
fun,
know,
bro.
I mean, some people, man. I mean, like handhelds today, the graphics are just as good as something at home.
Yeah,
And like I'm about to insert a video into the podcast. Like, so I don't know if you can tell, but I don't have power. I just wanted to throw out how amazing the Nintendo Switch is with today. And like for this exact reason is one of the big reasons why I bought it, mainly for travel. But the fact that I can play Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which came out for the Xbox One and PS4 in 2014, that was never really meant to be handheld like this, but it runs smooth and all that on a little screen without, electricity, without a TV, on an actual controller, without having to hold it in my hand like you would hold a phone or a PSP, is just amazing. And it fits perfectly with the podcast because we're talking about the past, present, and future of gaming. And I just really wanted to kind of showcase this. Like, this is what I'm doing right now at whatever time it is today. Like, almost 2 o'clock. I've been without power for 26 hours. And it is just amazing. It's amazing to have, and it's handheld, and it's portable, and it's not on, let me see if I can turn the flash on. It's not on my Xbox or my PlayStation. It's literally something that I can fold up and shut in this little case that you see. It's amazing, and I love it, and I have no idea what I just did to my computer. But I just wanted to interject this into the podcast because it fits perfectly into what we're talking about the past, present, and future. Now, I will bring this up in the podcast and interject it right before that. So here's what back to the podcast where I'm about to start talking about the Switch. Me, yesterday, that I sent into the group chat, like I'll insert it right now, of the Nintendo Switch. Like, that game I was playing in that clip is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which came out for the Xbox and PlayStation, never meant to be on this little device that I could, like, play in the car or play in the power outage. Like, that blows my mind because I remember having a PSP that could barely play um, like the Metal Gear franchise. You know, it had like its
Right.
own spin-off games that were really small because it couldn't handle the bigger games. You know,
Now here's something I'm just going to throw out there, but this is definitely subjective. Who do you guys think is the complete face of gaming? Would it be Pac-Man, Mario, Lara Croft, Sonic Hedgehog? Like, who do y'all think would be? If someone said this space right here represents gaming across the board, I would say personally Pac-Man, or
I would
maybe
either have to
Mario.
say
Maybe
Pac-Man or
Mario.
Mario. Like whenever I think of gaming, those are the ones that come to my mind. You know,
Mario
um,
for sure. I mean, because people still
Now,
play Mario today. People don't be like playing Pac-Man, but people still play
right,
Mario.
that's true. You got Mario Kart and all that. Now, what character do you guys think is being developed now that will be that quintessential to gaming, say 20 years from now?
there's
Like,
so
what's a
many.
character that stands out that you
Steve
know?
from the Minecraft
Because like there was
games.
a lot of characters from back then too, man. You had like Cubert, and I mean there was like a lot of other key characters that I personally remember that didn't last through time, like Mario and Pac Man, and like and PlayStation, definitely Lara Croft.
I
But
truly don't think
I'm trying to get
Kratos
he.
at least
is gonna be a
who?
character for a while. Kratos from the
Oh,
God of
Kratos, yeah,
Wars,
that's an example. That's a good example of someone that's going to be a future franchise,
and
definite.
like the Uncharted guys, Nathan Drake, the
Yeah.
big the big people from the Call of Duty, Alex Mason from Black Ops, Soap from Modern Warfare, who's in there,
So,
Ghost
and
from
then you
Modern
said
Warfare.
Snake.
Yeah, Solid Snake. You know, his franchise has kind of died down, but like he was in 1987 with his first game. You know, and his last game was a few years ago. It's just crazy how those are gonna be the characters that are gonna live on forever, much like Mario and Sonic and Pac-Man. And, the essential characters like Kirby and all sorts, and the Pokemon. All them characters.
Are there any gamers that you guys know about, like that the whole gaming community knows about? Like, are there a top five that like everyone knows, like these guys?
Nate
Nate
shot, bro.
Shot,
Nation?
100%.
Hey, yo, hey, I want to kind of say something about Nate Shot because, like this dude used to work at McDonald's in Chicago, and that shit really like inspired me because I worked at McDonald's too. You know what I'm saying? And like
I
he
worked for
one
the
of them
McDonald's
guys, bro.
myself.
I remember him like being broke, dead broke, living at his mom cribs, and he just like bought a warehouse off of his gaming company. And I'm like, bro, I respect the fuck out of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just like awesome to see. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, people like that, like you know what I'm saying, took it from nothing to something.
And
That's I wanted to give him his credit. You know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause it's definitely due while he's
Hey
here.
man, I'm not breaking up on you guys, am I?
nah,
Okay, good. Because I wanted to kind of turn it up in here while you guys are talking. I had Mortal Kombat set up. And I wanted to kind of get down a little bit while you guys are. I wanted to show the people what I'm doing. Let me see. Uh, shit. Wait a minute. I did the wrong thing. I'm sorry. There we go. All right. But y'all can be talking and stuff. I'm just trying to position this shit to where people can see it.
But yeah, shit.
Can
Scum
y'all
and
see
like
it?
optics and all they did. Syndicate.
Syndicate, yeah. I mean, he's one of the like he worked at McDonald's too. Like he was literally going through college, like his university in England, and his professor came to him and said, "Hey, I think you should drop out because
Hey, Bill, turn it down a little bit.
Oh, okay. All right. How about that? Is
That's
that
yeah,
cool.
better?
that's good."
Yeah, that's
Okay,
better.
my bad. I didn't know how loud it was.
All good. But say what you just said again, Hunter.
Syndicate, like he like Nate Shot, he worked at McDonald's too, paying for himself to go through university for game design, and his professor came up to him and he said, because he was making YouTube videos at the same time as you, professor came up to him and said, "I think you should drop out." you show way more passion for YouTube than this. And he did. And now he is not the biggest, but he is one of a big group of YouTubers that work and collaborate a lot for Call of Duty, especially.
Is he
They
always
share
in
like
all the
Minecraft.
tournaments?
What did you say, Bill?
Is he always in the tournaments? No, I was saying, is he always the guy in like? Is he in all tournaments or just the big ones or what?
Um, Sort of, kind of. He does a lot. He's a Call of Duty partner, so like he's partnered directly with Call of Duty, so he has to be in most of them. But he is not like in like what we would say esports or Major League Gaming MLG. So he's not in like the big ones, but he is in a lot of the smaller ones. But he's the guy hosting that $100,000 tournament that I was talking about earlier.
Wow.
Okay.
I think that we should talk about like Warzone and like how like the battle royale with Warzone has like it's
Before
it's
we
something
talk
that I
about
feel like
that,
has been missing in Call of
um,
Duty for a
I
while.
kind of want to talk about me and you playing Modern Warfare 2. Um, back in the day. Like what got us into Call of Duty and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I would say like at first it was like playing the campaign, and then I remember staying up all night playing Call of Duty 4. We were Christmas break, and like people were sniping only. Like I don't know how, but I got invited to a lobby, and like ever since then I was just hooked. Like that's all I wanted to do when I played video games. I didn't really want to play anything else, and I didn't really play anything else. Like after I fucking started playing Call of Duty, and like Modern Warfare 2 was fucking the shit. You know what I'm saying for sniping in Call of Duty. Like I say that like COD 4 was like if you could have had a mix of those two, it would be the best. And uh, I think Warzone with the Car 96 is that. But like, once you started doing it and like watching the YouTube videos on it, like I was hooked. That's all. Like I wanted to do that. And you playing with me, I would always win and shit. And, like Dad would lose the TV, and like that used to piss me off. I remember like that's when I used to get so pissed off at Call of Duty. Like that shit was crazy. I never got pissed off at a lot of things, but Call of Duty would piss me off.
Yeah.
Raiden wins. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I just been whooping ass over here, damn it.
Like,
I hope the visuals look good. I mean, how does the visuals look?
I pull
Looking
it up a
all right.
little bit.
You said what?
They're
Pull it
looking
up.
good.
Oh, like that?
Yeah, it's a lot better.
All right. But now y'all keep going, man. I mean, shit, this is the thing that y'all know about more than me. I mean, I talk old school about this stuff.
Hey, shit. Like, what are your thoughts on Call of Duty, Hunter? Like, how'd you, what I'm saying, get into that specifically?
I remember when we had that PS3 in the living room in the trailer. I'd always come out there when you were done playing Call of Duty. On my account, play the campaign. I wasn't too big into multiplayer at that point because I get in and I would just suck. Like I was terrible. So I would just play the campaign and like I remember playing no Russian for the first time. That was like that mission blows my mind that it could ever happen. And
Yeah.
then like Shepard betrays you and like I remember like all that. And then I don't remember what game came out after that, but then Modern Warfare 3 came out, and then Black Ops 2 came out, and that's where I really got into it, into the multiplayer big time, because that's where I started finally getting good, and then kind of lost it for a little bit because I didn't have internet and stuff to play online. But then Modern Warfare, I've been playing online a lot and just having a blast.
It's
Hell
one of the,
yeah.
like, it's one of the funnest games. Like, Warzone specifically, as like,
Got my
I,
first win today. I'm so happy
What?
about it.
yeah, fuck yeah.
Hey, well, man, let the people know how they can hook up with you on Twitch and whatnot.
Oh yeah, yeah. Me and Scooby, we stream on Twitch most nights. I stream every night at twitch.tv/chefmac1523. I also post videos on YouTube, all of this will be in the description. You can find my channel, Chef Mac. where I post videos, just random things. And then Scooby, he also streams sometimes with me at Scooby the Kid 252 on Twitch. Um,
Hey,
like
you
the
never.
other, what are you gonna say?
I say you never know. You might catch Bill streaming some Mortal Kombat on Twitch.
Yeah, and like one of my
Now, go
ideas
ahead. What's
for
up?
one of these podcasts is there's this game called Jackbox that I want all three of us to stream, and I feel like that would be a good like podcast kind of special. Like maybe we could do that. This is our 2 month special. Maybe we could do that at a later date once this pandemic gets over. Um,
Right.
but it's a game that everybody can play. It's not like you literally play it on your phone and you stream it through the Xbox, but it'll be an interesting like take on the podcast that can keep it fresh and interesting.
Yeah, it's a fun game too. It'll make you think. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you piss off, especially if you play the bomb game.
Word.
Yeah,
Well,
like, do you
I'm
want
sitting
to
over
talk
here playing
about
my
streaming and like do
huh?
we want to talk about streaming?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, we can definitely talk about streaming, man.
yeah.
I
Like
mean,
I'm
yeah, you
talking
want me to
about
start it
streaming
off?
of like all sorts, like everything. Like just just streaming your day to day life. Like something I'm gonna start doing is whenever I cook, I'm gonna stream it so that I can put it. I mean, I am Chef Mac after all. I'm gonna start.
Word.
I need to start doing stuff that fits my name. I'm wearing my chef's coat right now just because it fits what I portray myself as. Um, but I know that Bill, you stream your music most nights. How are you feeling about that?
Well, I mean, I'm feeling okay about it and everything, man. But it's like, everybody is streaming online right now. A lot of musicians are streaming. Pretty much every musician that I know of, even the top dogs, everybody's streaming, and it's getting to a point where it's really kind of hard to just kind of continually keep that pace. Hold up, let me get myself straightened up here. Ah, shit. Okay, I'll just do it like this. All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but yeah, man, as far as that streaming stuff goes, man, it's definitely a good way to now get more intimate with our audience and allow them to talk to us in real time. Like a lot of the times they're seeing us in clubs or in big venues or concerts, and they're not able to have a personable relationship with you in the moment because you're performing, obviously, and entertaining people. But in this instance, you'll have like someone like, one of my favorite piano players, Chick Corea, playing at home and stuff, man, doing his thing. And you don't have to wait for him to play some big room somewhere in Vienna or somewhere here in the States like Carnegie Hall or something, whatever. And that's with all musicians of all different calibers and levels. We're all like utilizing this and allowing our audience to be able to communicate with us in a more intimate fashion. And musicians are asking for donations, like the ones that are more hard pressed and whatnot. But it has its pluses and minuses too. We have to be careful to not oversaturate the market with a bunch of live streams, and each one is saying, "Hey, send me money." It's like you have too much worth of live streams saying, "Send me money." It's going to get to a point where people are going to be like, "No, you send me money. I've sent you money for the last 2 months." Like, so
yeah,
you just have to be careful. There's a balance with it, but that's my feeling about live streaming on other levels, man. I mean, the sky's the limit. You just use your imagination with it. I had a hosting party with my Toon Life series,
yeah.
and
I
I just
remember that.
simply watched. Yeah, I just watched episodes of my Toon Life series and invited those that kept up with the series online to watch it with me in real time. It's like, if you've ever wanted to watch Toon Life with the creator of the series, here's the chance. And it's just like just using my imagination, and there's a lot of other people utilizing it in other different ways and stuff.
Yeah,
Like I think streaming has to do with like uh, bringing value, so content with value. So if you
Yeah,
bring content with value, it's worth money, and like how you play that, is like based on the creator. Like funny enough, the first I've done a show that I've got paid for that was like uh, fucking live, not like in person, however you would call that. And money comes, money goes type shit. But the like my first check that I got to keep some money came from a live stream show, which I think is a sentiment to what can be done with live streaming. And I think that anyone out there is trying to, get donations. Just make sure you're bringing value. You know what I'm saying? Like type shit. That's kind of like my thing on it. Like I think it's awesome. Like people live streaming whatever they want to live stream. Like because you got watchers and doers. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully someone that's watching, what I'm saying, might be inspired to become a doer by watching you do whatever you do.
Yep.
Well,
So
well,
real quick before we get finish what you're stating, because I'm about to change the topic.
Oh no, yeah, I was just gonna say, as another facet to the live streaming, we're speaking about, gaining support and such and attention, but also shedding light on things out there too. Be it like I did a live stream where I shed light on other artists. I told people not to send me money, and maybe other things out here. Like, of course, with the situation with the pandemic. If there's like situations that people could donate to, maybe you could have a live stream that, caters to that and telling people, hey, I'm live streaming live, I'm performing, but send money to this particular link in regards to getting supplies to the medical profession.
Is doing a live stream this Friday. So 2 days from the day this podcast is going up, raising money for the NHS. Through a live stream, through playing video games, everything he earns from that live stream through donations and subscribers on Twitch will all go to the proceeds of the NHS. Which, it's like what you're talking about, raise money for something else through live streaming, which, is very, very good idea.
Yeah, man, it's a new market we're all getting used to and everything. That icon live has been sitting there. I've been seeing it in my Facebook forever, but I've never thought about going live because I performed in real time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So real quick, I want to bring it to. So we've talked about the past, we've talked about the present. Let's talk about where we think gaming is going to go in the future. I've got a couple of things on my screen that I kind of want to show once we get to where I can show that. But where do y'all think it's going to go in the future?
Scooby, iterate on that first.
I think that like gaming in the future is going to be like a giant version of The Sims, and you can get in there and live whatever life that you want to live.
So I'm going to show this thing real quick, which is a virtual reality thing where you can run on this little treadmill and shoot and like interact with this, which is kind of what you're saying, a live action Sims.
Yeah.
Where you literally go first person into whatever you're talking about or whatever you're doing with that.
So like you got a bunch of people that want to play baseball, you're playing baseball in video games, but it's that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it'll be a whole bunch of people living in virtual worlds, and like
I don't know if y'all have ever seen the movie Gamer.
I haven't, but I've looked to the title.
I know Alan has.
Oh yeah, crazy ass.
But that's kind of the same premise of what I just showed y'all. Is it's real life, and like one of the big scenes in this movie is this like big chunky dude with like syrup all over his sweater with Cheeto crumbs, all everything. And he's playing this female in a virtual reality world, trying to hook up with other people. That's crazy. That's where he's saying it's gonna go. Not that extreme, but
well, my friend, he's got a virtual reality headset thing, man. My homie and stuff, Kyle, and I mean, this is right now, and I remember putting that thing on, man, and everywhere, every crevice that you turn, no matter where you turn, you were looking at some part of whatever you were in. Like, that's going on right now.
Yeah.
There's like these virtual reality like things every once in a while at the powerhouse. These companies will come in and let you put on their headsets and see what different things they're introducing, and you get completely immersed in their worlds. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's already happening now. As far as the future, I don't think you won't have to put on headgear anymore. I
Oh
think you're
yeah,
gonna
it'll
walk
be
into a whole simulated thing with your real eyes. They want to. Matter of fact, putting on that stuff will be the equivalent of the way y'all look at Atari. People be like, man, nobody puts headsets in. You walk in there and it's a new reality. You know.
and I think like with virtual reality, it's going to be an even more way that people like nowadays say it's video games are a way to escape reality and like become a soldier in Call of Duty or become a plumber who eats mushrooms all the time and breaks the laws. Um, but it'll be an even more real way to like completely escape reality because even if you're playing Call of Duty, you're still sitting down, you're still in your bedroom, you still see like everything around you. But when you're totally immersed, that'll be a cool, interesting way to see everything.
Yeah, I
Now I
agree.
will say this, in regards to the modern times, like what everything you're saying, I agree with. But what about in terms of relationships? I mean, like how certain women may not want their guys to be like gaming a lot. I've heard that like World of Warcraft has destroyed relationships, have broken up relationships. Because the guys would get home and that's all they want to do, and the poor girl is trying to get their attention. And I mean, on the flip side too, you probably got girls like that doing that to their guys, but I'm imagining more guys being that way. And not that that means anything, but I just wonder if the more and more that you can become someone else in virtual reality in the future, like you say, if you really can be a soldier, would you really want to unplug from that?
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting thing to see. Um, and kind
If
of
you could
getting
go in a
away.
video game and get superpowers, like if I could go in a video game and I'm like shooting lightning and I can fly,
Yeah,
the
why
only
would
time
you
I'm
ever
gonna,
want to
the
leave
only
it?
time I'm gonna
Hey,
unplug from that is when I take a shower.
hey, but what if they trapped you in the Matrix though? Like that's how they do it. You know what I'm saying? Like when you go in and then like you think you walk out, but you really never walk out.
So,
Hey, for real. Hell, this is a video game for all we know.
Oh God, for real, you never know. This shit's crazy.
so I kind of want to bring up a game slash movie, Assassin's Creed, which I brought up earlier about on the Nintendo Switch. Is they have this in their universe? They have this device called the Animus, which lets you relive your ancestors, and in this instance, they're all assassins, and basically you get to go back in history and like with Black Flag you play as a pirate Edward Kenway, so you go back in history and you're a pirate who's like shooting cannons and drinking rum and all sorts of all that cool stuff, and like why would you ever want to leave that, or you could
Right.
plug in something else and like go into like if we're gonna go Assassin's Creed 2, you're in the Renaissance, you're this Renaissance playboy named Ezio who like gets all the ladies, why would you want to leave that?
Right. Right. And you know what? I don't think there's anything wrong with that escape because the only thing it's doing is amping up entertainment. I mean,
Oh yeah.
think about what we experience going to the movies now compared to when someone went to go see a Charlie Chaplin movie, which
Yeah.
he's like the greatest comedian of all time. But Charlie Chaplin had to go, man, he had to be who he was in order to make it so entertaining. And there were a lot of other guys that were like that. He was the top of the heap. But compare that to going to see a damn high def 3D movie today of the caliber of Avatar effects or something, and the experience has gotten amped up to where it's like people really want to go to the movies now.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to like live in the theater. You don't even people be staying to the end of the credits. They don't even
Yeah.
want to leave. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't. It's good. I think what can happen is, like for example, let's imagine a future situation, right? You didn't had an 8-9 hour work day. All right. You come home and maybe there's some sort of device that you can walk into where you plug into becoming the Assassin's Creed dude or something.
Yeah.
And you can do that the entire time that you're home because you're like, well, hey, I'm not going to go out. I was just going to game anyway. But like Scooby said, it's like, but how do you know when to leave and how do you know if you're leaving? Like,
Yeah.
where's the doorway to escape out of that if you're so immersed in it? Like, I don't know.
And
It would be like I think it would be like cool, but I could see it going like, ah man, you know what I'm saying? Like Yeah. It's just like I've seen too many movies, man. You know what I'm saying? Like too many movies.
And for real now, I mean, and the movies are a reflection of how we are to some extent. And for all intents and purposes, man, we would have to be mindful. I think that we would surprise ourselves though, because
Yeah.
like with every time something is invented, they always talk about how the kids are going to get sucked in. When television came in, oh, they're going to rot their brains. I remember when video games first came in, they said that they wouldn't be able to, snatch our generation away from the screen. And we grew up and had real lives. And I think that's what's going on with y'all now, where they talk about, oh, people can't unplug away from, games online. But y'all are going to grow up, and be getting your 30s and all that. And you're going to have normal lives. It won't wreck you. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
So I want to bring up something that is not necessarily with the VR, but it kind of goes with the unplugging. Is for someone who like me is very introverted, who can hop on Call of Duty and put a microphone on and talk to people without, that's a very cool way to be able, and it works perfect with what the time we're in right now, where we can't go out and socialize. Like I literally live down the street from Scooby, but I can't go over to his house, so I am playing video games with him, talking to him, interacting with him in all sorts of different ways. And like nowadays we're seeing something that I never thought I would see in gaming, and that's crossplay, which is being able to play with all the different consoles. And like I remember I'm an
Ah.
Xbox kid, like I played 360 and stuff. So playing the 360, trash talking on the PlayStation, people like, oh, we can't play with you, you suck. Where now, like, Scooby has a PlayStation, I have an Xbox, and me and him are over here playing together. That's just something cool that has come out of like gaming, and like the we can talk to somebody in Asia while playing a video game. That's just
That's so yeah, man. That cross pollination and stuff, man, of different cultures, man, just all congregating in one spot. And I also saw something else that I didn't see so much in my time. They every once in a while they'd have a series like, Capcom versus Marvel and these kind of
yeah,
crossover things, DC versus Mortal Kombat. But I've even seen something more distinct one time. I think it was at maybe Ferris's house or something. Y'all was playing some games. I think you remember this, Scooby, rather, where it was all these different characters from different games.
Oh,
Like,
Smash Bros.
you could be like Mario, fighting Lara Croft or whatever have you. Like, I had never seen nothing like that.
Yeah, that's some Nintendo Switch shit that Hunter was talking about earlier. Smash Bros, Super Smash Bros, the new one. I suck at that shit. But
But you
yeah,
could be like every character across the board against each other.
yeah, yeah. That's just one game. Super Smash Bros. You know
Oh,
what I'm talking
okay,
about, Hunter?
okay.
what
Super Smash Bros.
I've never played it.
Yeah, but you could be like all types of characters. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's a game on PlayStation like that puts like all the PlayStation mascots against each other, like Kratos against Nathan Drake, or Snake against that little big planet person. I don't remember what he's called, or
yeah,
all sorts of stuff like that.
yeah,
Oh, okay, okay. I think that's really cool, and I think it's cool of these franchises to allow their characters to cross pollinate. Because
Yeah,
yeah,
like back in the day, you would have never seen like Mario run across a Pac-Man screen, or vice versa. Like just because of the franchises and the way they were, not to say that they were above that. You just didn't see that kind of cross pollinating, going on with games.
and like a
But
game that's out currently, like two big rivals, Mario and Sonic. There's Mario and Sonic Olympics right now. That
see, I didn't even know about that. Hell, my old ass would play that just because I know about them characters.
yeah. Um, is there anything else y'all want to add before we get into rapid fire?
I'm
uh,
good. So
All right.
I think we've covered good ground.
All right. Well, we're gonna start the rapid fire round with.
hey yo, I kind of want to say something like just like to everybody that's watching. If you made it through, what I'm saying, I'm very grateful for that. And
Yeah, thank
like
y'all for watching all the
I,
way.
I
Thank you for watching for 2 months.
yeah, facts.
Yeah, man, our 2 month anniversary, baby, no doubt. Episode 8.
And like going further with this, you know what I'm saying? Like just be grateful for things. You know what I'm saying? Through everything that's going on, make sure you stay grateful, and we're gonna get through this. You know what I'm saying? Like together. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like someone needs help, let them
Amen.
know. So yeah, but yeah, that's it. We can get to the rapid fire though after that.
All right, so this first question just fits perfectly with what we've been talking about. If life was a video game, what would be the cheat code?
Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, BA, start.
What would it do
Boom!
though? Like we know what that does in Contra, but what does it do in real life? Like, you know what I mean?
Um,
Uh, it would reset your life just like it does in the game. Like, okay, for example, you go out on a date and you say something stupid. You got that cheat code to reset that moment.
I think it would be like if you use the cheat code, it would like give you a sign from the creator. You know what I'm saying? Like so, like say like you ever seen it like in movies where like motherfuckers is like why and then he like moves to the left and like whatever he needs his answer is written on the sign beside him type shit. Like I think that's what
Yeah.
cheat code
Well,
would be.
could it be argued that God is already doing that for us, isn't he not?
That's cheat code.
That's the cheat code, exactly.
The cheat code has got to be money. Like in San Andreas, you put in a cheat code, you get $1,000,000.
Ooh!
100%. Like,
Chuck Back is like, man, that was obvious right there, man.
all right, next question. Oh, wait, let me make sure I got it. Yeah, there it is. Who do you really know that reminds you of a character in a TV show or a movie?
Oh, oh man. Uh, Let me see. Well, I noticed this one guy that lives down here. His name is Jimbo, and he pretty much reminds me of any wino in any movie. Pretty much, yeah.
Oh
All right, Scooby, what about you?
shit, man, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one.
I know, man. Like everybody we know, pretty
Hey,
much act like original
Ryan,
people.
that man Ryan, you like he remind me of Cookie from Deadly Classified.
Oh, wow, yeah, he busting you, bro.
Ryan Rusty. We gonna clip that.
I gotta say, Bill, you always remind me of any time Morgan Freeman plays God. Like,
Oh, man. I love you, Chef Mac. Yes.
on his next question. All right, so if you took any movie and changed one letter, like if you took Hulk and changed the L to an N, like what would that movie be about? Like, and just think of any random one.
Actually, you just put it right in my realm, man. With the Hulk, I would change it to the bulk. I would put a B there, and it would be like every time he got mad, he would get extremely constipated,
Okay.
and it would create a bulk. You know what I'm saying? In his bowels, and so yeah, he'd be the incredible bulk. He'd be full of shit.
um, shit. All right, shit. Mm.
What about
Hey, good.
Duperman?
Let Hunter go first. And then come back to me. Come back to me.
All right. So if I was gonna change one, it would be Thor, and I would change it to Thorn. Um, no, that doesn't work. Never mind. Oh man, hold on.
I was trying to say I don't know.
Oh,
Okay,
y'all done
I was
stuck
trying to do
yourself.
poltergeist, but I can't think of. I don't know how to spell poltergeist.
Nah, Super Troopers. You change it to Super Droopers, and it's just a bunch of women with saggy breasts.
All right, well, let's move it there. Okay, whatever. Let's keep
Yeah,
it
cause
moving.
I'm
All right. Wait, where'd it go? I just had it on the thing. What would life be like if it was filled with male and female versions of yourself?
Oh, oh,
Just male and female versions of yourself.
oh. That would be an incredibly weird ass world, man.
Yeah, it would be crazy.
Wow. Yeah,
It's almost
that's the
unimaginable.
summary there. It would be wild and crazy. Everybody that thinks like me, oh my, and then female versions of that, oh Lord have mercy. Yeah, but one thing's for sure, you would be entertained.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would definitely be annoyed and punch myself a couple of times.
Indeed.
Hell yeah.
All right, so we got two more questions before the end. Is what are some things that are okay to do occasionally, but not okay to do every day?
Uh, Cocaine. Sure. And not the drug,
Whoa.
the drug. um, eat meat.
Yeah, that's kind of a good one, I guess. Yeah. Um. Oh man. Something that you could do occasionally but shouldn't do every day. Uh, oh man, that's a hard one. I was gonna say tell people how you feel, but I tell people how I feel every day, so I don't really know. Maybe
Occasionally.
the meat thing. Maybe what Scoob said. I think maybe you know I love indulging in meat, but if you eat it every day, you can clog your arteries and yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
The same
hmm,
thing. Because I think, you know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't do the same thing, like, hold on, like anything almost. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't do anything a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Well,
like
I
don't do the
mean,
same
no
thing every
kidding.
day.
Yeah.
But you got
Uh,
to drink water every day, or at least drink something every day. You know what I mean? Like,
but you can drink water. Like, don't like wake up and drink water in the same spot like every day. Like maybe
well,
like
like
one
the
day do it
question
on
is,
one
like,
foot.
you don't. It's okay to clip your fingernails occasionally, but you don't want to clip them every day, or you have no fingernails. You know?
Yeah, I guess
Like
that's
that's
true.
what it's asking. It's not like, oh, philosophy and stuff. But all right. So the last question, it's gonna be a tough one. If peanut butter wasn't called peanut butter, what would it be called?
Peanut jam,
Peanut jam.
Uh,
peanut spread.
I like that. That's a good one.
Shouts out to George Washington Carver.
Peanut puree.
uh,
Peanut Dijon.
I don't even know, man. I'm not good at stuff like this. Like Washington, I guess, or Carver. Carver, that's his name.
Carver's
Carver.
Yeah.
nut. Carver's nut butter. Is that
Yeah.
what it's gonna be called?
Oh man, suck back for the win with that one,
Yeah.
dude. Oh shit. All right, so what's up, man? Is that a wrap? What's up?
That's it. Let's go ahead and give that outro. It's been bridging the gap. You know,
Indeed. Yes, man. Hope y'all have enjoyed this. This is Bridging the Gap with Bill. We have renamed that tag, by the way. We are now Bridging the Gap with Bill, Scooby, and Chef Matt. This is the core group right here. And hope y'all have enjoyed this episode about gaming. And hope it was interesting for y'all. It was definitely interesting for us. I've learned a lot just kicking back and listening to these cats and stuff. I know about the old school, but they brought me to the now. And yeah, there it is.
Yeah, yeah. So go follow the social medias at Scooby the Kid 252, at Bill Perry, at Chef Mac 1523, at Bridge the Gap 77. Stay tuned in, stay tapped in, bridge the gap with us, and we'll try to bridge the gap with you and all that good stuff. And
come check out our live streams on Twitch. The links will be in the description below. Um,
Yeah,
and
challenge these guys. These guys think they something on Twitch, man. Y'all challenge them.
yeah, and we might be back on there. We might be on there tonight after we
yeah,
get
we
off
might be
here.
on there momentarily. Or I
All right,
would.
everyone try to get that work.
Yeah. Hey, but see y'all Wednesday.
See y'all next Wednesday. See y'all.
Indeed. See y'all.